get started. Okay, so obviously you guys know this is about your domain, why your domain is the key to your business, and what most business owners don't know. So what we're going to do today is we're going to unlock the secrets and at least get you on a place to know what's going on, what, when, why, and how. I don't, as I said earlier, I'm not going to just read these slides off to you. I assume everyone here can read. I will read some of them, but I'm not going to go for word. But again, I want to make this interactive. I want you to ask questions, join in, um, and make this, like I said, of value. My name is Brian from Entech IT Solutions. Some of you know me. Anyone who doesn't, what we do is we come into your company and become your IT department. Um, we help you do all the things that you should be doing, you're probably not doing, and that's nothing against you. It's just the way things work. We help people basically secure everything and just use technology to make your company more money, save time, effort, whatever it is you're trying to do, grow, whatever it is. And let me introduce Brianne, who is awesome. If you do not know her, we've had a great time doing this. One of the best people I've met. I can't say enough good things. Uh,
Well, that's
Introduce
great.
yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Absolutely. I'm super excited. Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know me, I am the owner and founder of Mills Mae Services. So I help US based virtual assistants get connected with small business owners, solopreneurs. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, but really our goal is to be working on your business rather than in your business. And that's why Brian and I work super well together. We have some fun stories that we're going to share, but yeah, really excited and grateful to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna explore why your domain matters far more than most business owners realize. Again, we're not gonna do a bunch of techie geeky stuff. If you do want to do that, like I said, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do it offline. But we want to give you some actionable insights in plain English. And then this is not a sales call. We're going to mention a few things, but this is not about sales. It's all education. Again, we just want people to know what they can do and how this stuff generally works. Okay. And sorry, I couldn't put this all on one screen if you can't
Mhm.
see it. But so, quick poll: who manages your domains today? Um, just a quick idea. You can unmute yourself and say myself, my team, someone else. I don't know. Just a general idea.
Go Tina.
Myself.
What was that?
Myself, I do.
Yes. And you probably know a little bit more about some of this stuff than most, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a common answer. People manage it themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to make sure you understand a few key things.
Mhm.
Um,
Brian, I can share too, just since I'm not normally an IT person.
mhm,
I do manage my own domain, but I also do have an admin that helps as well.
it's a good idea.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
are you gonna go into what it means to manage a domain? Because
Mhm.
uh-huh.
I'll probably say myself, but I don't know what you mean by manage.
That's
So
okay. That's what we're here for today, right?
Well, and things
perfect.
keep changing,
All right.
so it's this information's so timely.
Exactly. And it's so important today, especially. So you guys can still see my screen, right? It says your domain is your digital master key.
That's good.
And the reason it says that, because that's exactly what it is. Most business owners think of their domain as a website. And that's probably 95% of people. So if you ask them, do you have a domain? They'll be like, yeah, I have a website. But a domain is way more than that. Thinking it's just your website is like thinking your house key only opens the front door when it actually controls access to every room, the garage, and the security system. Think of a domain as your digital lease as well. I've explained it this way on the our digital deed on the internet. It's your section of the internet that you own and control and can tell people how to get there. You can control what it looks like, what's on it, how to access things. It's basically your little piece of the internet. And again, as you see at the bottom here, your domain is your digital front door. And again, your master key. Lose control of it, and you lose control of everything connected to it. And that's what we really want to stress. So everyone knows, if you go to www.yourdomain.com or yourcompany.com, it'll go to your website. Well, everything after the at also controls, excuse me, the at is for emails, but everything after the at is what you own. That's what you buy when you go to GoDaddy. That's what you use to tell people where to find you. So one of the things we see is that it's really important that your domain also controls your email. It can control or help with different kinds of SaaS logins, sales, marketing, and brand identity. The last two are the ones that people really don't fully understand how important it is to know and control your brand. Because when you control your domain, you can control your brand because you can tell people where to go, how to monitor, manage, and show your brand. Your brand is what, again, you show to the internet. Sales and marketing wise, there's a bunch of reasons why you need to make sure you have control of your domain, landing pages, emails, tracking systems, Google My Business, Facebook. All of these things are based on knowing and controlling your domain. So this is why we're doing this. A lot of people, we see them spending a lot of money on what I always say steps 20 through 27, and they haven't even done steps 1 through 5, meaning they know everything about their domain, where it's hosted, how to get into it, etc. Brianne can also talk about a recent case.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. So, I mean, like Brian said, it really is the front door of your piece of property on the internet, and everything is very connected when it comes to the internet and our domain specifically. So, I actually just had on Thursday a woman come to me in tears because her Facebook was being hacked, her Google account had been taken over, and it's because it was all connected and she didn't have the proper security or really the knowledge of her domain and owning it. And so I sent her to Brian, really truly in tears, because she felt as though she was losing everything, because her whole business was on her Google account and her Facebook. Brian got her sorted out to the best of his ability, but we would hate for others to be in that same situation.
yeah, and it's so easy to prevent. Um, and we'll go over that in just a moment. But is this clear? Do you guys have any questions about why your domain is so important and what it actually controls beyond your website? Okay, good. So that's step one, is just, at least understanding that it's more than a website. So these are the most common mistakes that we see. And again, these are all pretty preventable. And these aren't rare. This is generally what we see all the time.
Yep.
uh, Ownership. We've all seen it. You start a business or even a cookie company or anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. You say, "Oh, I need a website." It's the first thing people say. And then, "Oh, well, let me hire a web guy or an IT guy or a company or my neighbor or whoever." And you say, "I need a website. Please just build me one. This is the name of my company. Let me know when it's done." Do not do that. What you want to do is purchase the domain, make sure that domain is registered under your name, because that's what will most likely happen if you hire someone else to do it. And some people will do it because they know. Some web developers, not all, I'm not lumping them all into one, um, will not tell you that they registered it and put it under their name. So they just want to get it done and get it working as fast as possible, and knowing most business owners have no idea how all this stuff works. So what that means in reality is they own your domain. They own your brand. They own your email. They own everything. Now, if they're a good web developer, they're probably not going to hold you hostage to get it back. But whoever's name buys it and registers it is who owns it. So you always want to check who's listed as a registrant contact. And if you're not the one that bought it, and if you don't see a bill like once a year, then, or if you get invoiced by someone else, you may not own your own domain, which is obviously bad. If things go sour, they can do whatever they want to your brand. They can point it to a porn site. They could just turn off your email. Anything that has to do with your brand, they control it. So again, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to show why this is so important. So security gaps. I almost took this one out mainly because of everything I just said a minute ago. They basically force you to do it now. Like if you try and do this without doing this, they will either force you to do it or bug you until you just do it, because that's how important this is. Because they're the ones that get all the calls. I can't get into my domain. Why is my domain going to a porn site? Why can't I change my email? My web developer left, and now I can't change my website. They're the ones that get all the calls, and people like me. So GoDaddy and these places that where you buy the domains are like, enough is enough. So they make you do two-factor. But if you don't have it turned on, I did help a client the other day. I'm like, I logged in. I was like, how do you not have two-factor on here? He's like, I don't know. I was like, and this is like a 300 user company. I'm just like, but anyway, so I don't know how or why he's gotten around it, but it wasn't on. Operational risk. This is probably behind the ownership red flags. This is what causes problems that are just not hard to fix. So a domain, it expires, right? Auto renewals. That is where people forget. They don't have a secondary account on there. They don't have a backup. They don't have their phone number on there. No one looks at this stuff. And then when it expires by accident, you're busy running a business, right? Who wakes up in the morning is like, hey, I better check my domain expiration tomorrow. Now, they'll send you notifications, but if you don't have all the things I just set up, which about 85% of people do not, then you'll have no idea. Your credit card will expire. You'll have fraud on your card. You'll change the number. All of these things happen, and then you go to send an email and it doesn't work. You go to your website, it doesn't work, and now you're irritated. And of course, this never happens when you're just sitting there trying to figure out what to do for the day. It's right before you have a meeting with your best client or your a potential deal for the largest client you've ever gotten, and it's all
Yep.
easy to avoid. And again, Brianne has a good story to tell you about that, and I have a million, but I'm going to let her tell hers.
Yeah, no, I mean, same. And one thing I will say as well is that, yeah, it doesn't have to be all dooms and glooms. I feel like we're giving you a lot of the bad stories, which is true. It happens. I mean, Brian and I deal with this all the time. I had a painter contractor that had bought the domain, paid a lot of money, and that person went under in business, and their domain disappeared. And it took way more money and way more time than it needed to get it back. One of the things I will say on the flip side too, just to kind of confirm with the ownership red flags, is there is great ways to add an admin to all of these things so that you are still in control, you are still the owner, but you can have administrative support, so you don't have to manage all of it. But the biggest thing that Brian and I will shout from the rooftop is, yeah, you need to be in control. You need to know what's happening, so that when your credit card expires, your website does not also expire, and little
Mhm.
things like that.
Exactly. And one of the things I always bring up too is that people don't understand is the domains work the same for everyone. A
Mhm.
lot of people make the mistake that their domain is different than Tesla.com or Google.com. No, it's exactly the same. And the way you can find out if you don't have anything to do one day, and this makes sense, if you just call up and tell someone, I would like IBM.com, do you think they're just going to give it to you? They're not. So, and I can assure you, all the things we're telling you, IBM, Tesla, Coke, all these large companies, they have entire departments dedicated to doing all the things that we're talking about because to them, it's worth billions of dollars. Now, it may not be worth billions of dollars to you, but it's whatever your company is. If you're a $2 million company, it should be worth close to $2 million for you. Because if you try and do get it or lose it, it's going to be the same process if Google loses theirs. And it's a pain. That's why it's a pain, right? They can't have just any old person. Oh, you know what? I'm mad at Google. I'm just going to take their domain. It's not happening. So, and the same is for yours. If someone else tries to take your domain, if you have it fully under your control, you have no problems. They're not going to do it. You might want to copyright it, but that's a different topic for a different time. But the point is, it works the same for everyone. So here's a couple quick ways on how to audit your domain. First, as we talked about, excuse me. First, as we talked about, verify legal ownership. You want to log into your registrar. Again, your registrar is where you purchased it. And again, we'll help you do all this. At the bottom, it says, we're offering a complimentary domain audit. If you really just don't want to do all this, we'll walk through this with you. So you need to generally know where you bought it, but we know how to look this stuff up if you're not sure. And then you want to confirm your MFA status. Again, we can make sure that's turned on. You'll know, obviously, if you do have your info. If it doesn't pop up something to send you an email or something to your phone or to an app, you probably don't have it turned on. And then review DNS basics. I'm going to touch just briefly on this because DNS is basically what takes names to numbers. So the computers like numbers. They could care less about the name. Well, humans like names. Um, if you had to remember all the numbers, you would never work, right? Nobody remembers ESPN, and I don't know if this is the real number, but 17, 12, 14, right? No one remembers that. You just remember ESPN.com. The computer only cares about 10, whatever I said, 17, 14, 14. So think of DNS as an old school phone book. So when someone puts in your domain and hits enter, it goes and looks at DNS. Think of that as the old school phone book, says, where is that? Like the old phone number. And then it comes back to your browser with whatever you've told DNS to give back for your website, your email, or whatever. So that's why this is important. If you don't control your domain and therefore your DNS, if you get a website that was on GoDaddy and you have a falling out with GoDaddy and you're like, forget GoDaddy, I want to move this to whoever, Squarespace, whatever, it doesn't matter where. If you don't have control of this, you can't do it. It's going to point wherever it was before until you get a hold of it. And this is what hackers do a lot of times. As I said earlier, they'll get in and first thing they'll do is they'll repoint your website to wherever they want it to go. Could be a scam site, it could be a million things, but it doesn't matter. It's wherever they want it to go instead of where you want it to. So DNS, think of you don't have to get into it's a whole techie thing, but just think of it as your way to tell the internet to go to reach your little piece. Um, Email security. This is another huge part of what we've been trying to teach people and tell them. Uh, when you have like a Gmail account, which by the way, we tell people all the time, do not use the free Gmails or Microsoft or Yahoo for business. I'm in a group of other IT owners, and we all decided to start polling all of our clients, just asking them, hey, what do you do when you get a Gmail account? and the overwhelming response, which is the same as what I do, I just delete it. You could have the best product in the world. You could turn water into gold. No one is ever going to find out because they're going to delete it because like 80% of mail comes from those places. And the way I look at it is why would I do business with a company that can't afford a $30 domain or to take the time and effort to brand themselves? It always feels to me, I'm not saying this is right. Again, I'm just telling you reality. And also a lot of the spam filters, they just block anything that comes from Gmail. I'm in IT, right? All the stuff you guys don't see. I know what the spam filters look like, and a lot of times it block Google all, or excuse me, Gmail all, and you have no control over it. So, um, what this is called when you buy your domain, it's called a vanity domain, but there's a bunch of different names for it. But I highly recommend getting your own domain if you don't have one. And then part two of this is we see people that have a website, which means they generally have a domain if they purchased one, but then they still use Gmail for their email. I'm just like, oh my lord, basically when you do that, you're just advertising for Gmail, right, or Yahoo or MSN, when you've already bought something that you could brand for your domain. So I actually am working on a campaign to go through my list of all the contacts of people I've met. And the last time I looked, there was like 400 people in there, all running legit businesses, all on Gmail, whatever, and this. But I talked to a lady once and she's like, I've been sending out like 200 emails a day and I haven't got one response. I was like, well, how are you sending them? Just straight from my Google account. That's why. So I won't go into the rest, but there's even more. You'll get your domain blacklisted. But on the email security that you see, there are things that you can do to help keep your spam down. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC without getting too techie. Those are standards that allow other mail servers to verify that you are who you say you are when you send an email. So basically, it just talks to the other mail server. It says, is this coming from somewhere that, say, Entech IT Solutions said is okay to be sent from their email? Which means if some guy in Taiwan decides to spin up a mail server and use my address, all of the other mail servers will drop it. Because people don't realize how easy it is to set up a mail server and spoof your address. I could do it in like 15 minutes. So this prevents that. So again, you can't do any of that if you don't own your own domain. You are stuck with whatever Google gives you, whatever Yahoo gives you, or Microsoft gives you, and they don't really care. They just want to basically sell you stuff to you. So hopefully that helps understand why, again, beyond your website, why this is important. I'm going to stop. I've been talking more than I wanted to, but and ask any questions. Does people understand what we're saying here? The importance
And
of
Brian,
this?
I'll wait for questions, but also I'll point out too that if some of this fell over your head, that's okay.
Yeah,
And Brian will or Brian and his team are awesome at being able to break all of this down, double check all of your stuff for you as well. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Again, our goal always when we do these is education and to get the juices flowing, right? Be like to get people to think about the things they haven't thought about, not because um, you know you don't know or whatever. It's just they haven't thought about it. It's like when you go to the mechanic, right? They're doing all kinds of things that I'm not thinking about, right? My job is to put the key, turn it, and drive, right? I'm not thinking, I know how cars work, but I don't think about it, right? I don't think about my brakes or the timing belt and all that stuff when I turn the key. This is what we want to be for you. But at some point, you do need to understand it, right? At least what's going on, how to protect yourself, what the options are. And then a lot of this ties back to money at the end of the day. So that's why this is really important to
Mm,
understand.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So with that said, um, I'm going to pass it over, and Brianne's going to talk about working on your business and not in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, basically, as Brian alluded, there is a lot of stuff that needs to go on in your business, behind the scenes that is like the mechanic. I love that example. Brian always has really great analogies. If you just want a random one, ask him.
I
Um,
try.
yeah, but it makes a ton of sense because you do take your car to the mechanic because that's stuff that you don't need to be thinking about and don't want to figure out yourself. So, um, the biggest thing that I do with Mills and May Services and connecting with really top quality US based virtual assistants is to help you from drowning, from all the operational details, your email management, your scheduling, your invoice tracking, your social media. Those are really big tasks. And as a small business owner or a solopreneur, you're wearing all of those hats, and it's a lot, and on top of that, you need to make sure your domain is good and running well, and so what we do is we come in and make sure that you're getting the right support, so that you can look more at what it says, work on your business, rather than, in your business. So my first step, to save the money, to save the tears, is to secure your foundation. So going to Brian, going to an IT solution like that, to make sure that your systems are properly working. And then you can walk into a strategic delegation with the tools that are ready to hand off to an admin without making them the owners, and then without shooting yourself in the foot. So, once you're at that stage ready to delegate, that's where I come in with. I have a pool of, and we'll talk about how this works, but these virtual assistants really can help take off a lot of those extra hats that you're wearing, and then help you to be more of a business owner rather than, someone said it the other day, but rather than just having a really fun job, you are actually a business owner.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. So yeah, we look at these virtual assistants really as operational partners or stakeholders in your business. They're looking for the holes and the things that are falling through the crack, to really enhance your business, not just be a task robot. Not that they can't also do that, because that sometimes is needed as well. But we're looking at it as an operational partner. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let's talk, what can a virtual assistant do? Obviously, we're focusing a lot today on the technical aspect of a business and how to run a business. But there are a lot of other things to think about when you're thinking about a virtual assistant and how to offload some things and delegate some things that are making you feel like you're drowning. Like I mentioned, emailing and scheduling, invoicing and bookkeeping, your digital presence. Once you have a secure foundation, especially from Brian, then being able to add an admin to your Facebook and your Meta business page is awesome. And then they have the control to be able to post for you, to create the captions, create the meaningful reels and videos, without you having to worry about them taking it over. So that's awesome. Another thing that's been really impactful recently is lead qualifying. So, really making sure that the people that are coming to you are the right fit. Not just any clients, but you want to be working with the right type of people. We'll shout out Tina. There's lots of great AI opportunities as well, to get some of that lead qualifying, but there's still a human aspect. Tina and I have worked really well together. There's still an human aspect to running all of those different systems. So the virtual assistant can definitely help offload a lot of that stuff for you. So, the other thing that I really pride myself on with Mills and May is the opportunity to scale. So, I work with solopreneurs a lot, and we really do anything from 10 hours a month to 30 hours a week. So it can be a couple hours a week of just cleanup and organization to make sure that your business is running smoothly. And then I just helped an accountant hire a virtual assistant who is going to be working 30 hours a week as a W 2 because she really realized how much she needs that help and support as they are scaling and growing their accounting firm. So that's kind of the like big picture of what we do. I just tried to change the screen, Brian. Sorry,
That's
can
okay.
you change?
Yep.
Does anyone actually have any questions about what a virtual assistant can do? Awesome. Well, for how we do it, this is super high overview. We'll share in a little bit. Brian and I both offer like free initial consultations just to talk through and brainstorm and problem solve. But really, what I do is I work with business owners and virtual assistants on the discovery piece of figuring out what is actually needed, what can be afforded. So I work with the small businesses around their budgets. And then I go through the matchmaking process. So that assistant becomes a direct 1099 or W 2 employee directly to the business owner. I go through a vetting process with them, matchmaking, and then you get a 90-day trial period. So, being able to have those safety guards, I'm going to bring it back to the domain safety guards. But when you have those and you are verifying that the virtual assistant is added as an admin, if something were to happen within 90 days of having this virtual assistant working with you, and it doesn't work out, it looked great on paper and it's not quite the right fit, that's okay. I would reconnect you. And you also would have a lot easier of a process of taking that person off as an admin, and you still have full control over your domain and your little piece of the internet.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna toss it back over. Brian has a few more things to talk about.
Yeah. And one of the things we were talking about earlier is uh, one of our goals is to get some of these things farther towards the beginning of
Yes.
businesses.
Yeah.
Most people get an accountant or a bookkeeper, um, maybe, like I said, a website. We want to get IT involved in the beginning. We want to get a VA involved in the beginning, if that's possible. Help people build that into their process of starting a company. Because once you do it and you realize how helpful it is, most people wait until they're so busy when they could have been busy like 2 years ago if they would
Mhm.
have just hired someone to help, or not have to go back and do a lot of this IT stuff if they would have just done it from the beginning. So we're really trying to get that moved farther up in the business process.
Absolutely.
Um, we just have a few more slides, but one of the things we talk a lot about is why domain issues generally signal deeper problems. Not in all business, but in some businesses. And again, this is why where a VA can really help.
Mm.
Um, when it's under a wrong person's name or lacking basic security, it's usually just it shows that the organization's got maybe some documentation issues, which we help a lot of people with that. Process issues. It's just a warning light for other things, right? There's probably other things that are slipping through the crack. And a lot of this, again, is not stuff that, because the business owner is lazy or dumb or anything like that. It's just business, right? But
Mhm.
when you start understanding these things, it starts making you look at more. Well, what else do I not have under my control? What else do I not pay attention to? And then learning how important they are. This is part of running a business. And these are some of the things that we see that people don't necessarily take into account. So, as it says here at the bottom, a messy domain usually signals messy systems elsewhere. So you fix the foundation and everything else becomes manageable. And from our point of view, from IT, there is nothing better than to work with a VA that knows and understands this stuff. They don't have to own it. They don't have to be a web guru. They don't have to be any kind of guru. They have to be process driven and on the same page as the owner. And we've seen them save the owners a ton of time, ton of hassle, but be able to manage this stuff. And then the owner just has to be like, "Are we good?" And then the VA knows, "Yeah, we're good. Our domain's good. It's registered for 5 years. It's on GoDaddy." All this stuff, right? They should be able to spit all that back to you if the owner doesn't know. And then if they leave, you have it all documented. That all just passes through the owners. Like, okay, everything that the VA did is on this folder, this file. Blah. So it's a
Mhm.
system.
Yep. So good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll plug real fast to the virtual assistants that I connect with and matchmake with. They are. I always teach like we're not afraid of technology. We're not gonna hide from it. We're gonna embrace it. We're gonna learn about it. And we're gonna. I mean, Catherine and Tina can both attest to the amount of tech that I send to the virtual assistants and making sure that they're up to date as best we can. Also, a willingness, like Brian said, to learn and to be systems and process oriented.
Yep. And like I said, understanding this stuff helps, right? You don't want the VA to be like, "I don't know, what's a domain?
Yeah.
What is that?" And when
Oh,
I say that, it's okay if they don't, but imagine if you have one that's like, "Oh yeah, I got it handled. I've done it on GoDaddy before," which is the biggest one. Network Solutions, the second biggest one. I know how it works. I know how to get in there. I know how to log on. I know what a DNS is. I know how to update the email. I know how to update this, or I know how to work with a marketing company. I know what to give them, what to not give them.
mm-hmm.
That's all stuff the owner now doesn't have to worry
Yep.
about. And it's not really hard or complicated. It's just learning. And if the owner doesn't want to learn it, that's totally fine. That's why you get a VA.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, one that already knows it. And again, at the end of the day, it's going to save you money. It's going to reduce your effort and save you money. So I can't um, say enough on how important that is. Um, so beyond the domain, again, these are just things that we see that are like warning lights, and how Intech can help and Mills Mae can help. I'm not going to read through all of these individually, but the whole point of integrated and what we just mentioned, um, it'll save you effort and money. I know Brianne talked about one of her stories, but we had a client that lost their domain because they again not paying attention, and they started growing really fast. And um, they weren't a client of ours at first. And when we came on, one of the first things we do is domains. By the way, it's literally one of the first questions we ask people: "Can you log in and do your domain?" Because a lot of stuff we need to do, we can't do it if they don't. So they didn't know. We're trying to get a new website. They're giving us a list of all these things they want to do, and they look through all their old emails. They're looking at old receipts, and they had no idea. They had hired some guy to do it, and the guy, he's like, "I don't know. I think he moved to Costa Rica." That's literally what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, you either need to make a trip to Costa Rica and track down Joey or whoever it was, or get a new domain." And they were like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, and we went through the whole math of all of it. It After all the time and effort, I was like, "Yeah, it's probably going to be like 7 grand or something to get it back, and time and effort and blah." And we wrote it all up, and then they were like, "Oh my god, well, we have more than that in the website that they had paid, all the promotional stuff they had done, all the folders, all the sales materials. If you change your domain, you got to change all of that, right?" So they determined it was cheaper to just pay all the hours and hours and hours of time to get it all back than it was to redo all of the marketing materials and everything else. Again, all they had to do was make sure it was under their name, and that's a nice trip to Hawaii instead of paying get your domain back.
Mm-hmm.
So again, not to go back to that, but that's again just another story of why it's so important. And eventually they got not necessarily an assistant, but I think they brought in his wife, which basically was an assistant, to manage all of this.
Yep.
So I didn't know Brianne back then, or else I would
No,
have
yeah.
said hire her and have the wife do all the
Absolutely.
marketing stuff. But the
Mm-hmm.
point is, it was expensive
Yep.
for no reason. Does anybody have any questions? And is this still very helpful and useful? Yeah.
Yeah,
All
very
right.
helpful. Quick comments. You guys, just shout out to both of you for your expertise in two such important areas to create systems. And I love your approach for, starting with newer businesses. In my digital marketing side that I've found, man, like you've said, it's that stopping block of my ex-girlfriend created my website.
Exactly.
And,
Mhm,
and guess what that relationship is like now?
Mhm.
And
mhm,
so here's what happens. It stops the ability to grow.
mhm.
So, we've talked about, marketing campaign of various sorts, and then we can't move forward and it is on hold for indefinitely, you guys.
Mhm,
So I think it's so important. The other quick comment is the email marketing side. If you don't have, as Brian talked about, if you don't have those SPF, those domain records, sounds techy, but your company is losing a lot of money because your emails are not landing in the
Yep.
inbox.
They just
yep,
get dropped. And
yep,
they
And
don't tell
you're
you if you don't
wondering,
monitor it either. You're just
right?
wondering, why am I getting no responses? I
mm,
can tell you why. They're going straight into a void of nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And then, from Brianne's expertise in matchmaking is so important too, because you have, as you guys talked about, I had a client that they lost their domain
mhm,
and it was past the 30-day grace period and they had to pay a lot of money to get that domain back. Fortunately, they could even get it back. But if they just had a secondary admin inside the company instead of the web developer that ended up going out of business and leaving
yep.
them in a lurch, it's like what you guys are offering is amazing. So
Mm. Thank you,
thank
team.
you.
That's awesome.
It's definitely real.
It
Um,
is very
uh,
real.
and like I said, it's just so preventable. That's
Mm,
one of the main reasons we decided to do this was let's just help people just get out of the, just start thinking about it. And
thank
again, just reach out and we'll help you do it. Like I said, we're not no pushy sales or anything. But our goal is always to help people, show you that we know what we're talking about, and help you save time, effort, and money. No one's in this for fun. I mean, obviously it can be fun, but the whole goal of a business is to make money.
mm,
And it's hard to make money when you're wasting time and effort on things that are easily and preventable.
yeah.
And this is one of those things.
And I will
Um,
say too that,
mhm,
I mean, Brian and I can deal with a lot of tears, but we would really rather not these business owners
mhm,
come to us in tears. So we can get it on the front end, that would be nice for us
exactly.
too. So
It's
that's a
just
little
extra
selfish part.
stress. Yeah, life
Yeah,
is stressful
absolutely.
enough. Let's not pile on. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, life throws enough curveballs at you. Let's not start creating our own.
Yeah.
Um, so that's basically what we wanted to talk about today. And the biggest thing, just take action. And I actually was going to put some quotes in here, but I ran out of time. Um, there's so many good quotes about taking action. Um, but I see people do a lot of thinking about it for 30 seconds. They get distracted. And then one day later, they're literally right back where they were. Again, this is just one of those things. It's just not worth it. Get it under your control. Make sure you know what's going on, or reach out to us and we can help you. Um, how does that look on your screen? On my screen, I have a humongous monitor. So
Looks good. You're
it
good.
doesn't show the whole thing. I was like, can they
It
see
doesn't,
all
but
of
that's okay.
that?
Yeah. We can see.
um, yeah. So we're going to open up for questions, answers, and just anything that anybody wants to know that we haven't covered, just let us know.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Mm-mm.
Well, so this was encouraging to me, I think, because I do have. I'm thinking through it. I have all of our domains under our control, and to
Mm-hmm.
illustrate um maybe a good story of why is because we own a domain, right? Purchased it through
Mm-hmm.
GoDaddy. We had somebody develop a website. Okay. They did that. And then of course we worked with them, okay, get it connected and all this stuff. So then I don't know, it's been a couple years actually since they did it, but um now we're trying to get them to make changes or, like, release it to us, and they won't. And part of me is like, "Well, dang," but the other part of me is like, "Well, I still own the URL. I can just turn off that, connection to their hosting site, right? And when I
Exactly.
choose to host it somewhere else."
Mhm.
Hmm.
Am I thinking about that correctly or
You're 100% correct. So
okay.
what you will do is,
It's
because you
probably in
own
the
it, remember
yeah.
we talked about those DNS records?
Mhm.
Those are what tell the internet where to go
Where
for
to look.
your stuff, is not a good word, but for your website, your
Data, yeah.
email, all of your digital footprint. So right now it's pointing to wherever they're hosting it. So
Right,
you can
right.
be like, forget you, and say, I'm going to go build it over here now, wherever here is. And
Yeah.
then because you control it, wherever here is, we'll say, hey, go into your DNS and point it to, it'll say like 59, 16, 12 or something. And you just do what it says. And now magically, it will no longer go to that other site at all.
Mhm.
And because you own that domain, if somebody else pointed their domain to your domain and brought up all your info, I don't know why you do this, but you could then sue them or whatever, as long as you have your stuff copyrighted and all that. But
Right, right,
you can't control what they do or what they put up on a website, but you can
right.
control what
I
your domain does.
I can control where my domain
Hmm.
points to.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
That's
100% right. And we can help you do it if you want, or if you're interested, or again, I just let it call us if you even want to walk through it like we just did. But you're exactly right.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
will definitely copy down your info because we'll
And Brian is really truly like a wealth of knowledge, and is so awesome to do like a free um audit, I think is what you call it, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll look
But
at
yeah.
it all with you.
Hmm.
sweet.
Um,
Yeah.
that's our goal, is to educate. And then
Hmm.
once you understand, I said this already, but that we know what we're doing and we really care. I started this company not to be the next $20 million company. I want to help people use this stuff to get home sooner. How can we automate that? Make it so that you get to your kid's soccer game. I see people doing all kinds of crazy things, staying at work till 10 o'clock because they're just not automating things. They're not using technology. And it's fine, but I'd rather see people doing that because it just makes it more enjoyable. And life is short. Even as a business owner, we've taken the risk, but let's take the risk and make it fun and uh, hopefully profitable.
And less tears. So
Yes, tears don't belong in business. The
absolutely.
tears you should have is selling your company for 5 million or
There you
10 million or
go.
whatever your goal is on your wall.
I like it.
Can I ask you another question? It's
Sure.
maybe just a teeny bit off topic, but I'm curious if you have any insight into .com versus whatever. I think you kind of alluded to it earlier, like there's me,
Mhm.
biz, I don't know. Do you have any like are there pros and cons to some of those different extensions?
It,
Whatever.
it depends on your end user, I think.
Okay.
And actually, Tina might know a little more on this than I do. But
Cool.
for me, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is the security you have on things, because they all work the same. But like, they all
Okay.
just, when you hit enter, it goes and looks it up, says where do I go for whatever.com or whatever.biz or whatever.gov or whatever. It just looks it up. But you have to remember human psychology and a lot of this stuff. A lot of people are just used to .com, which stood for commercial basically, which meant a business. Um, so if you're counting on people to remember you,
Mhm.
I would try and get a .com. And when I say remember,
Okay.
I mean where people just go and type it in. But you also
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
remember, most people don't just go and type it in. What do? They go search. And that really means it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Because, oh, there it is right there. They don't look at the ending. They just click on it, right?
So
It's
SEO
kind
is
of,
almost even bigger than um
oh yeah,
right, searching. Okay.
SEO is really important. And again, people don't track this stuff because again, they don't even know about their domain. Um, you have to have a My Google business page to do Google Ads. and to do Google to
Mhm.
track all of these things, Google tracking, Facebook ads and Facebook tags and pixels. That's all that stuff is tracking all of these things. And if you don't have your own domain, or if you're not using it, or even have a brief, basic understanding of it, you're missing out on a lot.
Tina, did you have any
Makes
input
sense.
on the end letters? I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Brian said. It depends on if you really want to brand your domain. Com is still the top level domain that is the
Mhm.
preferred. .net used to be the second, but honestly, if you can get a .com, it's highly recommended.
Yep.
But, like Brian was sharing, some tech sites are .io, and that they're getting known for that. So, because the search engines are really, in Chat GPT and what have you, as long as you search the name, SEO is getting to a whole other level with the AI search capabilities. But, in essence, .com if you can, if not, those other sites will rank too.
Mhm.
But it is a big deal. So you definitely want to look into it. You want to use it strategically. You want to think about your clients,
Yeah.
and where they might find you and what they like. And there's nothing wrong with asking, by the way. Just ask
Mhm.
a couple of your clients. Hey, if I had a .com versus a .io versus a .net, would you care?
Yeah.
So ask them.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Well,
we want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know it's 1 o'clock.
yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Brian, for sharing the space. And we will have this, like I mentioned, up on YouTube. So I know that a lot of us work with other business owners as well. So if this is of important information, please feel free to share.